Hello all, welcome to auratrainings.com. In this session, we'll discuss about generating a BIP report in a Fusion using Oracle Integration Cloud, and the output, the BIP report, will be saved in a respective format in FTP. You can see the flow here. So we'll have an OIC which invokes a BIP report in Fusion in a respective format. That output file which you got from the BIP report will be saved in FTP. So let's see the content. The prerequisite is require two servers. One is FTP, the place where we want to store the file, and a Fusion ERP where we'll have our BIP report, which is available, which we want to invoke from OIC. And now the list of connections as well as components here, if you observe, we require a REST connection, which is a trigger activity connection. The next one is FTP, and next one is a SOAP, which is for the purpose of BIP report. And integration type, we are using application, and the input parameter, what we want to consider as invoice number, as well as a file format type, whether you want to have it in a PDF, Excel, or HTML. So I have tested in three formats: PDF, Excel, as well as HTML. That is also another extra input parameter. This is a BIP report we are considering, which is having one input parameter, and the report path is this one: custom/auratrainings AP invoice details report.xvivo. Now, the REST connection information. When you want to create a connection, just click on create connection, select the REST trigger, mention the connection details, and the authentication go with auth 2.0, and it should be 100% success. Next one is FTP connection. Click on create connection, select the FTP adapter, mention the appropriate connection details, and then you require to mention your host IP of your FTP server, port number, username, credentials. Next, the other one is a SOAP BIP report connection. Click on create connection, select the SOAP adapter, mention the SOAP, the report, what you call the connection name, and then here you need to mention the WSDL of the SOAP service from the Fusion ERP. Mention the basic authentication, nothing but the username credentials for the Fusion ERP. Okay. Now this is the flow which will be designed, the integration flow which we'll be designing. You can observe here. The first one is the trigger invoke activity, and wherein we mentioned the two parameters. One is the invoice number, other one is the output file format type, whether it's a PDF, Excel, or HTML. Then in the assignment, we are just assigning the report path which we will be using in our Invoke BIP report service. So in the assignment, we'll just assign the variable value. And for the Invoke BIP report SOAP service, we require a couple of parameters. First one is the file format type, the input parameters, as well as the report path. These are the things which you require. Next one is stage file write activity. The stage file write, what are we doing is, what are the response which you get from the BIP report SOAP service. We'll be writing that in our stage file response in what you call in OPEX, using the OPEX schema XSD. And then the response, what you got from the stage file, that we will be writing to the FTP using the invoke activity of the FTP write file. Okay, so this high level flow. And you can observe when we run the report or when we run our integration, we should look like this, where we require two parameters. One is the format type, other one is the invoice number input. Once you click on run integration, a specific file like a similar one will be generated in this particular folder called /report/invoice. And you can see the file format also. We consider AP invoice is our file name, followed by timestamp, followed by the appropriate file extension. Okay, so let's try. Now I'll just go to our integration. So we'll just go here. We'll click on create application, and I'll just mention dash test. The first one is this connection OT, invoke BIP report, and we require two parameters. We'll go with / in the endpoint relative URL, and two parameters we want to add up. One is input parameter, output format. Other one is input format, invoice number. These are the two input values you want to consider. and we don't want to generate any response. Just go with the default one. Save it. Now here, next one is we want to invoke our activity, BIP report. Where is this? 1 minute. Yeah. Yes. Now click here. Select our connection name, SOAP BIP report connection. It should be fast, but yeah, sometimes based on the server response, it could be slow. Let me reload. Yeah, so let me click on edit. And here mention invoke BIP report using SOAP. And here we have to select our operation as a run report. Continue. Continue. And there is no other property which we have to set during this configuration. But once we click on finish, it will generate a mapping. In that mapping, we have to set a couple of very important properties. And you can also observe the properties which we need to set it. If at all, if you're calling the sample WSDL, the external report service via SOAP UI, you should be able to understand them. The first property is the attribute format, which is nothing but the input format. What is the output? What is the output format you're expecting? That value you have to mention here. It can be HTML, PDF, or XLSX. Next one is a parameter value. And here in this particular XML input, the item name, the parameter name is invoice number, as well as value we have to mention. And then the other one is a report absolute path, the total path of the report with the file extension XDO we have to mention here. Okay, so in the mapping here, let us set those properties one by one. And yeah, before that, we want to set the assignment, right? So here, what I'll do is, or maybe here, either way, this is fine. So I'll just click here, click on assign. I just want to assign one variable, which is for our report path. So this is our report path. I'll just create here. Variable report path. Yeah, this is our report path. So this will help us to configure, or let us say if your report path is different, it helps to configure it a very easier way. That's the reason we are assigning a variable, else you can directly configure it. And actually, it is good practice to mention all of them in an appropriate lookup or a mapping rather than directly hard coding the things, but it's okay. Now, yeah, expand the right side properties of the BIP report. Couple of things as we have to mention. The first thing, observe the attribute format. So in the connection properties in the input request, we got the output format. This is what we have to set it. Next one is a parameter name as well as value. So here, how do we understand all these things? The best, easiest way is when you are invoking a BIP report, first try it out invoking the BIP report via SOAP UI. And then you can observe the parameter names in a very easier format. So next one is after the parameter name values item, parameter name values, just search that. Let me expand now one by one. Yeah, you got it. Parameter name values, item, parameter name values item, and you'll see the item array and the item array we'll see one more thing called name. So we'll select this name here. This is the one, name. On the name, you just right click here, click on make root node. Not root node, sorry, target node. Just, yeah, it went off again, right? Let me expand. Parameter name values. Under the parameter name values, item, name, right click, create target node. Once you click on create target node, it allows us to provide an expression so that we can just mention that this is the parameter name. And similarly, click on select this one. The value is set. After that, you can see values. The values item, you have to mention this one. The values item. So here again, right click, create target node. And for this one, we will need to pass the input invoice number. Just drag and drop that. And invoice number is done. Now the final one is report absolute path, right? For this one, report absolute path. Drag and drop the variable report absolute path. And there is one property we generally set it that is called size of data chunk download -1. We generally mention that. So I'll set the static value for that. Okay. So till this configuration, we should be able to successfully invoke our BIP report. And then, assuming once you got the response from the BIP SOAP UI, I mean the SOAP web service, then what we want to do is we need to write that file output to the stage file write activity in opaque format, right? So I'll just write file using stage, continue. And here it is a write activity. So write file, specify the file name. I'll just go with AP invoice. And here output directory, I'll just mention /report. And it will ask us to mention the schema. We'll go with XML XSD schema. And we have to mention the opaque schema. So we'll get it that. Nothing to change. Go with the default and finish. So for this stage file write activity, it will generate the mapping. We have to map the response, what we received from the invoke activity of BIP report to the stage file activity. Click on the edit for the map activity of this stage file activity and map the response, what you receive from the BIP report to the opaque element. So here invoke BIP report, SOAP response, run report. And here in which element you're getting, the report bytes will have the output format. So you can observe here, when you run the report, in the report bytes of your SOAP, this BIP report will have the output format content. Okay. So we are setting that. Now the stage file activity has the information. The final one is we need to map this output file, which you receive in the stage file, to the FTP, right? So now, yeah, so I'll just go here, click on action, FTP, connection OT. This is our FTP connection. Write file in FTP. Next, write a file. So output directory, we can mention this one. This is the directory we want to mention. And file name, I'll just go with, anyway, we'll mention that file name dynamically. For now, I'll just mention AP invoice.pdf like this. Write file, binary, report /AP invoice, done. And now here, do you want to specify schema? No, we don't want to mention any schema as such. Just go with the continue. That's it. Now here comes the very important mapping property again. So now in the mapping activity of write file in FTP, click on the edit icon, set the appropriate properties now one by one. So in the ICS, expand the ICS file in the FTP file reference, and in the stage response, expand this one, get the ICS file reference first. This reference will just map it. Next one is in the properties. In the properties, we are getting the file name, but we want to dynamically set the file name, right? So in the output FTP header type, you have a file name and directory. Directory we have already set, don't change that. We need to set a file name. So we can drag and drop the file name, but this is not a dynamic one, right? So we are just hard coding that. So what we want to do is we want to just apply some logic here. So here for this one, I want to apply a concatenation. So we can do a different logic. I have done the concatenation with the timestamp and all those things. We'll do one by one, similar to that. So I want to apply. So here we got a file name, right? So I'll just say we got file name. And for the file name, I want to concatenate the file extension, right? So for this one, we'll just apply concat dot slash and file name. And the file type you are getting from the input, right? So here, just scroll up the query parameters, output format. So here we'll just get you're concatenating the dot, nothing but dot with the file format. And then similarly, we want to apply the concatenation for the input file name. So this is the function. So here we'll apply concat file name followed by current date and time. Okay. Now this is one string followed by dot and then followed by the appropriate extension. That's another string, right? So it should be done. So the expression, yeah, let's try what is wrong here. Just see one by one. So concat, yes, it is getting ended here. And the slash, I think there is, yeah, this is also fine. Yeah, this is where the mistake is. We have missed the comma. I'll just copy this. Let's try again. Validate. Okay. And now we have one pending change. Click on primary business identifier. Okay, I think we have one issue in the mapping also. Let us fix that also after this primary business identifier. AP invoice number. This is it. Edit. The expression. Unexpected. Okay. Maybe this, I should have used double quotes probably. Yeah, let's try this to fix. I have the function name is not case sensitive, but still, yeah. Expand this and then the output format file name. Yeah, this is where the again issue, it shows a clear red color mark. It's not accepting. Okay, so FN current name. This is the one which I have used earlier also, but why it is not accepting now? Let me try this. There is a mistake. Okay, so for now, I don't want to make it complicated. I'll just make it as a very simple. Let's say I'll remove this date. I want to apply only. Let us apply only file extension, okay? So this concat has file name followed by concat of dot and file extension. Let's try this one. Copy this. Okay, let me remove. I think that's not the issue, I guess. Let me remove this actually. It's still holding some cache, I guess. Yeah, I think this has some issue. Unlock. It happens, so you have to have some patience to fix these kind of issues. Edit. Okay, let's it's not taking anything actually. Very strange. I just cleared expression. We have not applied any expression on this one. Let me take this as expression here. Set static value. Hopefully it should work. Either way, it is not allowing me to set any value. Very strange behavior. Okay, one option I have is, even though it is not good practice, I'll just simply delete that activity and let's recreate. So I'll just, I think it went off now. Configured, yeah. It's very strange behavior. Yeah, it happened. So I'll just click on edit to set the file name properly. Let me try this now. So here, yeah. I'll click on developer stuff. I'll take my earlier logic, which I was expecting. It's working this time, I guess. I don't see any issue. Configured, yeah. And let's try activate. Run the integration now. And output format, let's say I'm expecting PDF. And yeah, we require to pass a specific set of input parameter, right? So I think 409, yeah, 40910 was my invoice number. Let me try the same one. Status is okay, but let's see whether do we have the file or not here. So yeah, I think we have the file, but still what I can do is I'll just delete all of them to check it whether it is really generating files or not. So now this time I'll say XLSX. Let's go with this one only. When you want to get the Excel format, you have to type like this, XLSX. Let's refresh here. It's not yet completed. Not yet generated. It has to complete. It's still running, right? So we can't do anything here right now. So let me try refreshing. So server seems too slow today. That's the reason we could not see a proper response. Let me try once more. I'll just go with PDF only. Run. Yeah, it is 200. Let's see here. Let's see if we can writing now. Yeah, we got the Excel also if you observe. But the other way to validate really these files are correct or not, right? The only way is we have to get the file and read it. That's the only way we can validate. So here you can just say date modified. I think these are the two files which have it. Yeah, perfect. I was getting the exact one which we are looking for. Perfect. So we are able to generate the file in appropriate format. Of course, the naming convention, you can play around with appropriate things. Of course, we had struggled with the mapping. It happens. Yeah, so this is the thing we want to achieve today, like generating an output file using VIP report in FTP via Oracle Integration Cloud. Thank you.